Here now to break down all of these brand new names and faces for the Saints is my old friend, former Saints guard and NFL analyst Steve Korte. All right, Steve, let's start right at the top. What do you think about Akeem Hicks? Big body in the trenches, not the type that you'd want to go up against, I don't imagine.
Well, no, actually that's sort of what the prototype is now.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that can sort of put pressure and crush the pocket from the inside. So you're looking at these guys. This guy's obviously been on the radar. They've watched him for a while. He was recruited by several of the SEC schools. There's just a myriad of different ways and a different road map that this guy took to get to the NFL. He had to go to Saskatchewan or whatever it was to get here.
Yeah.
That happens a lot, but guess what? He finally found his way here. Now he's going to have to earn his spot.
He's got a lot of want to, though.
Well, look, I mean, it's a point where if they're going to draft a guy that early, which in the Saints in this fashion, this year was their best pick. It was their earliest pick, and they thought they'd go after a defensive lineman. They missed last year on the Sean Rogers and the Abreu Franklin thing. They thought that was going to come in and make a thing. I thought that was going to be a great addition. It turned out to be a bust for us. So those guys backed up to the pay window, so hopefully this young guy can come on and do something.
All right, let's talk about day 3. Started off with Nick Toon at wide receiver. Your thoughts about him?
Played against his dad. If there's anything off that, you know, he's going to be quite a pick. From what I understand, he's not a great speed guy, great possession guy, uses his body real well, runs strong routes. And if he's played at a big level for a while and done pretty well. So knowing that, you hope that this is his dream. Coming here to a guy that throws the ball around that often, if he can go out and gain the respect and not drop many balls at the beginning, know who to block down the field, and then catch the ball when it's thrown to him, he's got a great opportunity with Drew Brees.
It's funny, when you described him, that sounded just the way they described Al Toon when he came out.
Well, like I said before, if there's anything to fall off that, if they say the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, well, let's hope that this is the case on that.
All right, let's move ahead to round 5. The Saints go back to defense as they pick up Corey White, corner safety project.
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to make an immediate impact, Steve, do you think?
Probably on a special teams, and that's usually where those guys like that come in. A lot of times they talk about a guy, and to me, sort of when I looked at him, I thought, he's an athletic guy, but he's not overly athletic because those types of guys are typically corners. He's a corner size, but look, if they can get him on the field at a safety position, because typically the way the game is in the defenses they use now, they're either dime or nickel most of the time anyway, so they're using 5 or 6 DBs at a time out there. So if he can find his spot out there and is able to sort of grasp that scheme pretty quickly, he might find himself a spot pretty quickly because we need some depth.
All right. I know I'm thinking that you like the direction the Saints went in with the rest of the draft. 6th round, offensive guard, Andrew Tiller out of Syracuse, man after your own heart. And of course, in the 7th round, O-tackle Marcel Jones out of Nebraska. Both guys big maulers. Maybe not the most athletic, but no doubt about it, they are big boys. What are your hopes for these guys?
Look, those big guys like that are hard to find. They really are. And so they felt like they were good enough footwork-wise, and they felt like they had the necessary tools, at least at this point, to where they could work with them. Now, the Tiller guy comes from Syracuse, which is obviously where Doug Marrone is now. Doug Marrone, actually, I was able to play with him when he was here for a while. So, obviously, he has some little bit of input as to what's happening there with that guy. I watch a guy like that, and a big guy like that is going to have to really sort of get his technique right, and he's going to have to get it right quick. Now, he's going to be able to learn the system, and you're going to be able to do that pretty well, but at the same time, he's going to get his hands placement, and because he is so tall, he's going to have to be more of a knee bender than he's ever thought possible. So his technique is going to have to come into play pretty quickly here, and if he doesn't get that squared away, then he's just going to be another guy they're going to push around.
O-line coach Aaron Kromer's got his work cut out.
Well, they always do. I mean, that's the most unnatural position that you can possibly coach, and it's also, between that and cornerback, it's probably the most difficult position to evaluate. So the fact that the guy's a big guy and they feel like that somewhat he has the qualities they're looking for as far as obviously size, now they're going to take that size and see if they can work him into a guy that can at least fit in somewhere along a backup role and either develop the other guy or not.
All right. As a whole, grade the draft class for me with the Saints. How did they do?
Well, you have to consider where they started. And they didn't have a lot of picks, and we had a couple taken away. So the fact that they, I think, if you kind of look at the history of what the Saints have done, and what do they always say, that future performance is best served by looking at past performance. They've done a terrific job of what they've done in the draft in the past. And when they found some people that nobody had seen before, they didn't know about a Jari Evans coming in right late like that. They didn't, Carl Nix lasting that long. All these kinds of different things that come about. You can look at a Colston, for instance, and say, like, these are all different kinds of people that they've worked with and seen before and come up and drafted a Chris Ivory, for instance. this may be the same type of draft. I expect them to probably work with these guys. And whether they make an instant impact or not, I don't know. Toon probably will make a more impact, obviously, right away than maybe the others. But you never can tell. Once they get into camp, that's when you find out.
Well, the telling story is this: 25 players since 2009 for the Saints, taken in the 3rd round or lower. 13 of them still with the team. So that's a pretty good
percentage. Usually attrition rates are a lot higher than that.
That's right. That's right. Steve Korte, the world's biggest leprechaun, straight back from Ireland.
That's right.
Thanks very much for coming by.
Pleasure's all mine.